At this point, we're not aware of any victims from Maine.
Now, my cousin was actually in Las Vegas last night. I was checking in with him when I found that he was actually at the Mandalay Bay pulling into the hotel parking lot as all of this started. Stephen Halzell joins us now live on the phone. And Stephen, first of all, I'm glad you're okay. And just what happened when you're pulling up to the hotel in this taxi cab? What do you remember happening?
Oh, yeah. No, thankfully, thank you. Yeah, when I pulled up into the, I was in the cab, and the cab said we were going to the side entrance because of the concert. And as I was pulling up, I could hear the gunfire just beginning. And it just sounded like rat-a-tat-tat-tat-tat. It was absolutely distinguishable. I mean, I knew that wasn't firecrackers or a helicopter. It was just a machine gun of some sort, and we immediately pulled off into a parking lot next to it. We actually heard over the cab walkie-talkies that they had said that there was an active shooter at Mandalay Bay, which was the hotel I was about to check into. So we had, as this happened, we had turned down the right. Actually on the road right below the window where I just saw on the news where the window was. I was directly below the shooter's window. And as we pulled to the right to try to get away from that area, nobody knew at the time, whether it was one shooter or multiple shooters, and there were just people running in all directions. It was absolute pandemonium.
Stephen, you mentioned that you could smell the gunpowder.
Smell the gunfire.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say you had mentioned to me that you could smell the actual gunpowder. I can't even imagine what the scene was like with everybody scattering and nobody knowing what was going on.
Yeah, we could smell the gunpowder from where we were. So that's why nobody. I mean, no one ever suspected it was somebody up, 32 stories, and just people didn't know where to go or which way to run because the sound of the bullets were coming from all angles. So people just were running in all different directions.
Was there ever a moment of calm, Stephen? After this, what was kind of the scene after, and where do you go from there?
Yeah, it seemed like there would be a round of gunfire, and then within a few seconds another round of gunfire, and then there would be like about a minute, and then another round of gunfire, and then there was like a couple minutes where there was no gunfire, and people were just trying to find ways to get away from the Mandalay Bay in that area. I actually went around the corner to another hotel to the back side of this, and was trying to just wait it out. And what ended up happening was people were running in. People actually came through that hotel as well, saying that the shooter was inside that hotel. So I was outside of the cab at this point. I ended up going into a parking lot next door and was looking for a truck, and people were looking for trucks and cars to hide underneath because nobody knew what was going on at the time still.
You had mentioned that the police set up a perimeter pretty quickly and that they had checked you out and everybody out to make sure they were okay before you were even allowed to pass any further?
Right, and then right after that, the SWAT teams were, so you could hear the police down in front of the Mandalay Bay, but also the SWAT teams had set up a perimeter around the entire area, and they were just walking, systematically closer and closer to where the shots were fired, and they were checking out everybody. They had their helmet lights on, and they had their M16s, and each person that they encountered, they pointed the gun right at them, had them hold their hands up, tell them, make sure they checked them out, and then told them to run across the highway to the other side to get as far away from that area as possible.
All right, Stephen. Well, thank you for sharing your story. I'm glad you're safe and back home, and I really appreciate you taking some time with us today.